This video is to help with Section C practical applications of the course studies paper. It's for the kind of last question or last questions. So we've got here, use your psychological knowledge to suggest a programme for the issue you've identified in question. It's usually the question above, the psychological issue question, whatever the study's kind of about, and evaluate that suggestion. I'm going to answer it as 2 6 markers, but they have asked that evaluation question as a 10 marker. So you just basically give more evaluation points. And they could ask it as a combined one. So you make a suggestion of a strategy and evaluate it, make another suggestion and evaluate it, and so on. But we'll come to that in a minute. This one here is Lily. She's got 3 children. She has to get them all ready for school in the morning and then drive them to school. As she's rushing, as she has to get to work, she sometimes forgets to buckle up, that should say her, seatbelt. So I might need that for later. Roger is the children's grandparent, and he picks them up from school every day whilst Lily is still at work. I want to go in the front because I'm nearly grown up like Mummy, says Sophia. So that might be useful for later. As they all get in the car. Roger notices that Sophia doesn't put her seatbelt on. Sophia, why haven't you put your seatbelt on? Because Mummy doesn't wear a seatbelt and I want to be a grown up like Mummy. So it's all about wearing a seatbelt. And this could almost be a kind of imitation of role models, could be the psychological issue, or it could be like adherence to a regime, because your seatbelt's an adherence to a regime, I guess. So you could kind of answer either of those for this one. In terms of using your kind of knowledge, basically we want to make Sophia wear a seatbelt, so what are we going to do? So you might want to start off the question, or the answer to the question, with something like the psychological issue is the external influence of role models affecting a child's behaviour. To make Sophia begin to wear her seatbelt, Lily could be instructed to make sure that she fastens her seatbelt and draws Sophia's attention to it every time they are in the car. This will allow Sophia to observe and imitate the correct seatbelt wearing behaviour from Lily and learn through social learning theory. That's one suggestion of what you can do, quite short. Lily could then, in fact, we might actually want to put what we could put is, as Lily is her parent, she's more likely to be an influential role model as her parent and is of the same sex. She is more likely to be an influential role model and therefore more effective at changing Sophia's behaviour than Roger. Lily or Roger could then positively reinforce Sophia when she does wear her seatbelt by giving her praise, such as well done, or commenting on how she is a grown-up like Mummy, which is something she desires to be. this will work, or this should work, due to operant conditioning, which is where, due to reinforcement, the behaviour is strengthened if it has desirable outcomes. Additionally, Roger or Lily could positively reinforce Billy or Autumn for wearing their seatbelt or seatbelts, and then Sophia would be vicariously reinforced, as she would want the positive reinforcement herself, and so wear her seatbelt, as her siblings are being rewarded for doing so. So that's kind of like 2 suggestions so far. If we just have a look at this list and see if there's anything else that we can talk about. Well, a good one to put is maybe a role play thing in terms of like a cartoon. So Sophia could also be shown a cartoon of a character she likes, such as Peppa Pig, wearing a seatbelt and being praised for doing so. This would allow Sophia to socially learn in this way too, and also be reinforced. So that there should be enough to get you the 6 marks. Now the second thing to do is to evaluate what you have suggested. So you don't want to repeat this too much because you've already got it in that question. So you kind of just want to say it a little bit. So you might say the strength of getting Lily to teach Sophia how to wear a seatbelt using social learning theory will be effective, as it is ecologically valid and will take place in the natural environment, and so it is likely to change Sophia's behaviour to wear a seatbelt, and she will continue to do so in the future. Let's have a see. So we've got evaluation points here. It is relatively easy to do, and is a simple. It's relatively easy to do, and it's simple to conduct, and so should be reliable. Right, let's just get rid of that. That sounds rubbish. Let's come back to that. Let's do a weakness. Weaknesses are already easier. However, a weakness of this is that Lily is usually late, and so may not have the time or may not remember to always make a show to Sophia to wear her seatbelt. and therefore may be inconsistent, and then Sophia will not reliably wear her seatbelt. Strength of using reinforcement means that Sophia will find the experience pleasurable as she is receiving a lot of attention, putting on her seatbelt. However, she may only be doing it as she may show demand characteristics and only be putting on her seatbelt because she knows she will get this reward. However, when the reward is removed, she may go back to not putting on her seatbelt. Also, by reinforcing her siblings, this may not be ethical because it may cause sibling rivalry. And may affect what they called Billy and Autumn's seatbelt wearing behaviour as they may socially learn from Sophia, as she is an older sibling and nearer to their age, and so is quite similar. Strength of using a cartoon is that it is standardised and so is easily replicable, and therefore the outcome of affecting Sophia and whether she wears a seatbelt is reliable. However, it may not be. However, this may be ethnocentric, as not every person is from a culture that watches TV and cartoons, and so this may not be appropriate for some people. As Sophia is in a car, it may suggest she is of a Western, well, not necessarily, she might be of Western culture, actually, but the using a cartoon is standardised, and so it's easily ethical, and therefore the outcome affects Sophia and whether she will see, but it's reliable. However, this may be ethnocentric, so not every person is from a culture that watches TV and cartoons, and this may not be appropriate for some people. Well, that's a bit iffy because we're really talking about Sophia, aren't we? Another weakness is that this program is quite reductionist, as it focuses on social explanations for behaviour and does not consider internal mental processes such as why Sophia is not doing her seatbelt, and if she was told the dangers of it, she may choose herself to put a seatbelt on. Oh, a seatbelt on. So another thing is quite reductionist and deterministic. In fact, let's just put reductionist. Deterministic is last word doing her seatbelt. If she does, or she may choose. It is suggesting a deterministic program is appropriate, but Sophia may have the free will to change her behaviour herself. We go through that and just check everything. So we've got one strength. Social learning is ecologically valid. Oh, it's in context. That's 2 marks. That's 2 marks. That's 2 marks. That's 6 already. 7, 8, 9, 10. So I've done way too many there for you, but you can basically see how you can get, 10 marks easily by putting all of those things in. And that's the suggestions that you can make. So it's pretty easy once you know what you're doing with it. And I've used some of the examples that are in there as well. Could probably put a few more of those in, just to make it, great. Because we've got, well, there's one example there. Of weaknesses, Lily is usually late and forgets to buckle up. So by putting that in, we got some more context there. So wherever it's appropriate to stick some of those in, then do that. You can put them in after, you can put stars in and stuff like that, I'm sure. If you forget at the time, you can go back and put those in. But yeah, so there you go. If you need any help, just ask me.